Mondays are always better after a Dallas beatdown. And the Eagles went down to Dallas and beat the stuffing out of the Dallas Cowboys. And everybody in this region who's an Eagles fan is extremely happy. And on that note, we welcome you into this edition of Gun on One. It's presented by Inside the Birds. I'm Derrick Gunn. And I have a special guest. I mean special because I've known this man a long time. Friend, colleague, former Eagle great offensive tackle, Trey Thomas. Trey, are you as happy as I am about what we saw Sunday down in Dallas?
Absolutely, because, you've been seeing this team building up. You've been seeing this team continue to build up, and this could have been a trap game. Going in there knowing that Dak wasn't going to play in this game, this could have been one of those games where the team kind of went in and wasn't as aggressive. But I felt like this team came in prepared to play, and they beat the Cowboys down.
They're on a 5-game roll right now. What has impressed you most in general about what the Eagles have done over the last 5 games?
I think one of the things that really stands out is linebacker play. I think that the linebackers have really stepped up their play, and they are playing at an extremely high rate. I think Nakobe Dean and Bone are the real deal at linebacker, and that's what we needed to see. That was one of the things that everybody had a question about going into this season, and I think that they have shown that. And then just Cooper DeJean, man, you can't say enough about this young secondary with Q out there at the corner, and then Cooper DeJean, man, those guys are extremely athletic, mixed in there with Blankenship. This is a very progressive secondary. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You've never seen a secondary as mixed as this. You know what I'm saying? But, these guys are extremely athletic. And then when you have Slay out there, with he and Isaiah Rodgers, I like the way Isaiah Rodgers is playing, but Slay is the starter, but he keeps coming in and out. But I think that the secondary play has been a lot more aggressive as well.
When you say the word mixed, what do you mean by mixed?
You know what I mean, mixed.
What do you mean,
Come
mixed?
on.
What do you mean?
Know what I mean. No, don't try to put you know what I mean, mixed.
I want you to explain it. What do you mean?
You know, how many times have you seen a secondary that's as diverse as our secondary? How many times in the NFL have you ever seen that?
I like the way you put it. So delicately put it. in this socially sensitive environment we live in today, I thought you spoke eloquently and put it delicately, my friend.
Thank you. Because you never see that on a professional level. But I think that, man, Cooper DeJean, man, he is the real deal. And then when they show the highlights of him dunking on everybody, this cat is an athlete. I am quite impressed. Howie and them did a really good job with these picks here. These guys are the real deal in this secondary. It makes you feel good about the direction that this team is going on for years to come if you can keep these guys healthy.
Hey, Quinyon Mitchell, he don't get beat. The dude does not get beat. His footwork is unbelievable for a rookie.
Yeah, dude, and I like what I like about him is that he doesn't play off. He gets in there and he challenges those receivers, and that's what you have to do. Because everybody's like, "Oh, we want more sacks. We want more sacks. We want more sacks." Well, if you're going to coverage dictates sacks. So for you to get sacks, I need those quarterbacks to get in there and challenge the receivers and get in their face to make that quarterback have to hold the ball an extra tick to give our defensive front time to get there. And that's one of the things you're seeing is that, man, those guys get out there and they challenge receivers. And Q does not back down from anybody, dude. He plays with a different type of confidence. Kind of reminds me of myself when I was a young lad.
I hear you. Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to talk about the poise and the maturation of Jaylen Herz. And when I mention Jaylen Herz, the first word that comes to mind is poise. You look at what happened down in Dallas, because you didn't know what was going to happen down there, even with all the injuries, Dak not playing. It's still Dallas. They hadn't won the last 6 games down in Dallas. Crazy things happen in Dallas. He early in the game, he has the 2 miscues, and then he bounces back, throws a couple of touchdowns, runs for a couple of touchdowns. You look at his demeanor on the sideline, it never changes, whether it's good or bad. Talk to me about what you've seen in him in terms of watching him grow this season through the good and the bad.
I think that's one of the things that just makes him great is just his demeanor. and he's always even killed. And I think like everybody, like I want more emotion, I want more of this, I want more of that. I want Jaylen to be exactly what he is, because if he's too high, then you're all emotional and then you're forcing stuff. And you start to make mistakes when you start forcing. I think that the way he is helps him play his game, and I think that it works for him, to go out there. I mean, Trey Diggs, that interception was, you knew that the ball was going to Dallas in that situation. And Trey played him for, what's his name? Diggs played him for it, but it just happened. And I think that Jaylen Herz is just continuing to stay calm under pressure, and he's just making plays and leading his team.
He took 5 sacks in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, nothing. They didn't even touch him. Didn't come close to touching him. When you look at this offensive line, what comes to mind? I mean, because it doesn't matter who they put in there. They get the job done.
Yeah. You have some very athletic guys in there. Fred Johnson has really made himself a lot of money this year, just stepping in and playing at left tackle. He said that he was a lot more comfortable at the left tackle position. He definitely can do that. You can tell his technique is much better on the left side. With Big Micah, saying like there are times though when I look at this offensive line and I see 3 guys blocking 2 in the middle, and then you got a linebacker coming free. That's stuff that you got to have to clean up, as you continue to progress, because defensive coordinators are going to play you for that and try to get some of those plays on you. But when you look at how athletic these guys are, they're extremely athletic. When it comes to running the ball, they are, massive. When you go out there and you stand on the field next to these guys, because when we were out there for the Hall of Fame game, and I'm a big dude, and I'm standing out there with Micah, and I'm like, well, damn, man, that cat is massive. Yeah. You look out there, and that's a guard. You don't see 6'6", 6'7" guards, that's at his size. These guys are massive individuals, big people movers. And, and Coach Stout, I believe, has done a really good job at teacher protection, getting these guys to be a lot better in protection. So that's one of the things that I think that, that has helped this offensive line, this unit.
As efficiently as they're running the ball now, was there a time when you were playing here that you guys ran the ball as efficiently as what they're doing now?
Nah, we didn't run the ball. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? We had 80 plays. Shoot, 75 of them going to be passed. You know what I'm saying? We might have 5 runs in that 80 play clip. I don't know, But to me, I'm an offensive lineman that likes to pass. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I personally like to pass just because I always struggled as a run blocker. I was never a really good run blocker. Passing was my thing. Pass protection was my thing. I felt much more comfortable trying to go up against some of those, fast guys and keep them out of the quarterback, then put my hand in the ground and trying to create movement. I struggled as a run blocker.
Hey, Jordan Mailato's window's open to come back. Now, there's talk that he may come back and play Thursday night against Washington. With that said, how difficult is it to have the kind of layoff he's had and only have 3 walkthroughs to get ready for a game of this magnitude?
Well, I'm pretty sure they've been doing what they got to do as far as conditioning and get him up to speed. It's not him just sitting around. You're going to be doing some running, getting him up to speed, making sure that his conditioning is up to par so that he can come out there and perform, because you don't want to see the big drop-off. But if anything happens, Fred will be right there waiting to step in.
Mm-hmm. Are you surprised at how, in general, the running game has resurfaced in the National Football League? It has been pushed to such a pass-happy league for years. All of a sudden, the trend now, if you look across the league, is to run the football more now.
Yeah, well, defenses are playing all versions of nickel. You know what I'm saying? So when you're playing 4 down and 2 linebackers, you can get combination blocks. I get a tight end in there, man. We're going to combination blocks and we're going to create movement. Now, because before, back in the day when it was real run heavy, everybody was playing that 4-3 front, or you were playing a 5 across and 2 linebackers, 7 in the box, 8 in the box. But now, when you can spread guys out and you make guys have to play nickel, then it makes it a lot easier for you to run the ball. And then you look at the linebacker play. You don't see Jeremiah the Trotter linebackers anymore. Everybody looks like oversized safeties. You know what I'm saying? When you see them outside of their pads, they look like oversized safeties. So, it makes it a lot easier to run the ball on that type of build.
Is this Eagles offensive line back to being a top 5 O-line in the NFL?
If they could cut out the sacks, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving up a lot of sacks. To be considered a top 5, you got to have that sack number down, regardless of whose fault it is. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, that was on the quarterback. Nah. You know what I'm saying? I was always under the impression that, if my guy got to the quarterback, that's on the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he's running around and he steps out of bounds, behind the line of scrimmage, that's on the quarterback. But, I think for this group, because they've only had one game where they didn't give up any sacks.
Yeah.
So, for them to be at that top 5, you got to get that sack number down.
What's the strength of this offensive line?
Run blocking. I think that when they can get out there, because, first of all, man, you're dealing in Coach Stout's wheelhouse when you start talking combination blocks. He is a master at planning that and getting guys ready to create movement. Because when you go back and you look at it, I think Fran put out a video where he was just like, man, look at these combination blocks and all this movement that they're creating. Now, there were times where, all right, you got that combination block to the linebacker plays outside and that defensive end crashes. You have to come off of that combination block and bump that defensive end back so that the running back can have a cutback. But these guys, because of their size, just create so much movement. It's impressive.
What's the weakness of this offensive line?
Protection. And I think that if you had to pick one of the things, sometimes they do get exposed in protection. If you get some of those blitzes, sometimes with the running backs becomes a problem. Like I said earlier, when you go back and you look at the Dallas Goedert touchdown, where you had a linebacker coming right up the middle where Jaylen Herz had to step around him and throw the ball. Well, you got 3 guys that's right here in the middle. You got your 3 offensive linemen. Well, the one linebacker bails, fires on react. Don't slide outside to nobody. Go back, bump it inside, because that could have been picked up. But, that's just me. When I'm watching the game, I'm like, okay, that could have been picked up. Don't slide out there as a guard. He fires on react. The linebacker drops out of there. If the tackle if there's nothing coming outside of the tackle, there's no need for you to slide outside. Bump back inside. That could have been picked up. But Jaylen Herz did a really good job avoiding the blitz, got rid of the ball. But there are times where you see where it's like, all right, we got to kind of clean that up.
How would you say that Cam Jurgens has made the transition in terms of replacing Jason Kelce as center? Still a work in progress?
I think he's doing good. I think that, I think that Cam is doing really good at center, because he's definitely not the reason. He's not causing the problem. There's some mix. But then, so when you look at this offensive line, there are times that, you don't know who's making the calls. Because I think, sometimes it's Cam, sometimes it's Landon Dickerson. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you might have too many chefs in the kitchen. Where I need just one voice to make the call and then everything breaks down from there. But that's just the way this offensive line operates. That's the one unique thing that was good when you had Kelce, Kelce, Landon, and who else was the right guard? Even when you had Big Isaac, all 3 of those guys were centers. You know what I'm saying? So they can all take turns making calls, that help Kelce. But, I think that Big Michael, he's not in there. He's like, look, man, he's a tackle playing guard.
You talk about this O-line cleaning up its pass protection. Can this be a legitimate Super Bowl a winning offense if they don't clean that up? Because somebody's going to catch them sooner or later. Teams have disrupted them and they're still flowing, but somebody's going to catch them. The right defense is going to catch them.
Yeah, I think that they can get you there to the Super Bowl, but for you to win it, you're going to have – because let's go back to the Super Bowl that you won in 2017. First of all, I tell everybody, and I will die on this hill, that offensive line should have won Super Bowl MVP that game. I know you give it to Nick Foles, and we got his statue and everything, but that offensive line should have won the Super Bowl MVP. They only gave up 4 quarterback hits. only 4 quarterback hits, and you ran for over 100-some yards over them. The only sack in that game was BG's sack. You know what I'm saying? But that offensive line played a heck of a game. And that's what they have to continue to do. If you want to win, because it's looking like you're going to have to see the Chiefs again. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you that from experience of being out there in Kansas City, because I was out in Kansas City for training camp this year with Big Red and working with the offensive line and just seeing the blitz packages that Coach Spagnuolo is coming with, you're going to have to be on your A game.
I look at this Eagles team and you look at they're starting to develop an identity now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with identity as the head coach. I mean, this man has been all over the place, making news for the wrong reasons, shaving his head, so on and so forth. How would you describe Nick Sirianni? And could you play for Nick Sirianni?
I think you could play for Nick Sirianni, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he seems like a player's coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, he seems like he's one of those type guys that's going to be fired up, real rah-rah. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do whatever you got to do to get his guys there, you know. Some of the theatrics, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, you know, but as a player, you're so dialed in the game, you're not really worried about that. You just go out there and do what you got to do. But I think that, you know, to me, he really seems like he really cares about his players. He really cares about winning. And to me, that's the most important thing. You know, of course, now there are some things where you out there yelling with the fans and all that. Now, I feel like, all right, dude, like, why are you worried about what the fans are saying when you got on a headset? You have on a headset. Everything is going to – how can you even hear what the fans are saying? You need to be dialed in on what's going on the field and just dealing with your players, not the fan base. But, you know, man, to me, it seems like he's just having fun, man. And to me, it just seems like the players have his back and they're willing to go out there and do what they got to do for him.
Right now, the Eagles sitting atop the NFC East, a half game in front of Washington. And, oh, my, that clash is coming up. But before that, I want you to rank the top 4 teams in the NFC right now in order.
Whew. I mean, you know, did Detroit win the other day?
Detroit came all the way back and won that game on a field goal last play of the game.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I'll put us over Detroit then right now. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. We kind of tied with Detroit, man. I think, you know, I think Western Detroit and then Washington. Yeah. You know, and then who else we got?
Let's see. You got Atlanta. You got
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe Atlanta. I give Atlanta 4th place.
Okay.
You know, or Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota. Atlanta just lost to the Saints. I don't know how that happened, but they just lost. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting run down the stretch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I look at the collection of wide receivers that Jaylen Herz has at his disposal, and let's go back to a guy that you played with named Donovan McNabb. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the numbers Donovan could have put up with the likes of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith at his disposal, man?
Yeah, having that and having Saquon Barkley in the backfield, dude. I mean, they just put together an offense that's just like, you know, when you sit on Madden and it's like, all right, I want to build the ultimate team. You know, when you got A.J. Brown is an absolute animal. You know, I haven't seen anybody that's as talented as him when it comes to running that deep ball and keeping a defender on his back and being able to position himself to still come down with the ball. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's an extremely gifted athlete. And then when you look at Slim, he's more like he's the slick version of it. You know what I'm saying? And he's, you know, and he earns your trust because you know he's going to go in there and make that tough catch. He has no problem going across the middle, has no fear in that. And, you know, and then you mix in Saquon and then the tight ends, man. I mean, you know, you got a really solid group of guys that Jaylen Herz can get the ball to.
You just heard me mention a few moments ago about this clash coming up on Thursday night. Let's go down I-95 a little bit. And I want you to tell me what you think about this kid named Jaden Daniels, man, because he's only got 9 games under his belt, 10 games under his belt. This kid's not playing like a rookie. Tell you that right now.
No, he is playing like he and his mama are about to make big money because he made his mom. He just made his mom his agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the new trend right now. And I'm like, man, that's pretty slick there. I'm talking to my kids now. Hey, look here, man. You know, if you make it, you know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead and make me and your mama an agent. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to cut us a check. You know, we can start getting paid from, we can go ahead and let's work that out. To start telling the business, like, look here, start reading some legal documents so we can get this under control, But I think that this young man, he plays with a lot of heart, and he's an extremely gifted athlete as well. And I think that Washington is doing some really good stuff, man. They improved their offensive line. They got better in that point, and then, he's out there just making plays.
Will you be at the link on Thursday night?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be there. Yep. Yeah.
Sideline or up there with the bougie suites?
Oh, I'm gonna be up in the bougie suites. I ain't standing up doing nothing no more, man. I'm up in somebody's suite, hanging out. You know what I'm saying? With my feet up.
Free food.
Yeah. Free drinks, free food, drinking with my pinky out. Just hanging out, having a little wine. Just relaxing. Enjoying the game.
Enjoying the ambiance of the game itself.
Yeah, the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? It's very charged.
Do you miss playing the game? You consider look at the money these guys. Offensive linemen. Look at the money they're making out compared to when you play. Do you miss playing the game?
I think I got it out my system.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? 12 years in the NFL, I'm good. I enjoy what I'm doing now, just being able to talk about it and teaching it to my sons, so I enjoy what I'm doing now. I think that, I left it all on the field. I got 12 years in, that's a long career, man. And, I feel like, it was good. I was good, so yeah, I had a blast. And and now I just like watching it. Now when I sit down and watch it, I'm like, dang, boy, that's what we used to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we used to get out there like that, man. That looked like that hurt. But it is what it is.
And you mentioned a moment ago, you were out in Kansas City getting your feet wet in the coaching ranks with Andy Reid. How did that come about, and how far are you going to take it?
Well, I'm just trying to see, like every year I fill out the application to get back in with coaching. So we'll see how it goes, man. I went back to school so I could get my degree, so I could coach on the college level as well. So we'll see how it plays out, man. Right now, just focused on getting my son where he needs to be. He's finishing his senior year. So, in high school. So he's getting ready for that college progression, so that's where my focus has been, just making sure that he's up to speed, getting him ready to go. And then once my youngest son gets out of the house, man, we empty nesters. You know what I'm saying? So in the midst, we got a naked room. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to hang out.
You got a what?
Naked room. Naked room. You know what I'm saying? Where we empty nesters now. We can just hang out and be free. We ain't got to worry about no kids running up in here. All the kids are out. You know how it is. You know how it is when you and mama sent the kids out. You ain't got to worry about nothing no more. You know how it is.
I'm not responding to that one bit.
We can be free.
I'm not responding to that. Oh my goodness. Do you see yourself coaching in the NFL ranks?
I would like to. You know what I'm saying? I definitely would like to. I really enjoyed it. When I was out there with Coach Reid and working with Andy Heck and working with his group, I thought that it was fun, man. And then watching Patrick Mahomes in practice, it was ridiculous, man. But I really did enjoy it. Now when you do the internships, you're focused more on the on-field stuff, which is a lot easier, and you really, if you're going to coach on a professional level, it's the off the field stuff that you really need a lot of work on. So that's why I was hoping that they would have kept me on, because there's a lot of that off the field stuff that I think I really need to get a grasp on, with just the game planning and all of that goes on throughout the week. Because the on the field stuff is, because my focus and expertise is protection. And that's one of the things that I focused on when I was there. And I think that Coach Reid made it very clear that he was like, hey, we're not bringing you in here just to sit in the corner. I want you to coach and do your thing. And Andy Heck, I had a really good relationship with him because this is my second time going out there with him. So he allowed me to go out there and do my thing, man. And it was fun, man. I enjoy it. I like being in the trenches.
Okay. Now, you're enjoying the lifestyle of luxury and leisure right now. You would jump back in the fire knowing that job's 24/7, like 9 months out of the year. You don't get a lot of free time once you get back into coaching.
Yeah, but
run down, brother.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like with us being empty nesters, I'm a little bit more ready to go back into it. Before, when my kids were in school, nah, just because I wanted to make sure that I was there during their process. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make sure that I was there, to help them reach their goals, So instead of me being off somewhere else, helping another grown man achieve his stuff, and I'm leaving mine behind, I wanted to make sure that I was there through that process. And, being able to take my son on these college trips and do all of that, man, that was priceless. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
You also have a couple of podcasts going right now, don't you?
Yeah, man. Todd and I.
Yeah, you and Todd Harriman. You guys are like Batman and Robin. Tell me about both of the podcasts. Yeah,
Todd Harriman and I, man, we still do Between the Vines. So we go to different wineries throughout the tri-state area, and we just drink wine and talk football, man. So, that's been really fun. And it's always good, too, because, we were just talking about this the other day, like, especially when you saw Shady come back. A lot of times as players, we all spread out and we go our own places, and you really don't get a chance to see each other like that. So it's always a blessing to be able to have one of your guys that you played with that you see every week, and just have that time with. And that's fun, man. And then we do a show too at Chicken and Pete's on Mondays usually. So, that's been fun. And, other than that, man, I just been chilling, man. I just sit down and watch some film with my son. Let's watch some film. Let's talk about your game. They're in the playoffs right now, so I'm just enjoying life, man. And then my other son.
Which son is it?
My youngest son, Jake. He's at Shawnee, so they're in the playoffs right now. We got to play Winslow this Saturday, so we'll see how that goes. This Winslow is undefeated, and then my son and them, they're in the playoffs. They made a strong push. They're playing really well right now. And then my middle son is at Westchester. He's playing football now, so we'll see how it goes, man. Life is good.
And your oldest son, is he being heavily recruited?
My middle son, he's at Westchester. My youngest son, he's been recruited. Yeah, so we went on like a 2-3 week just trip during the spring where we were just visiting all the different schools and stuff. Man, it was awesome, man. Really, really cool experience.
Nice, man. Look at you, podcaster, part-time football coach, wine extraordinaire. A man of many talents in the afterlife of football, man.
Yeah, man. Then I just went and got my degree, went back to school, got my degree, and then I also got my real estate license. So, if you want to buy and sell some real estate, holler at me. I'm at Compass, so it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Life has been good.
Good, man. Trey Thomas, a man of many means. Always a pleasure to get caught up with you, my man.
Anytime.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Gun on One. For Trey Thomas, I'm Derrick Gunn. Of course, Gun on One is powered by the Inside the Birds Network. We will talk to you after the Eagles, hopefully, praying they beat the Washington Commanders on Thursday night. Until then, so long, everybody.